Hello, my name is Mandy and I am excited to start vlogging about my lifestyle journey that I started about 10 weeks ago. And when I say excited, what I really mean is scared and nervous and feeling super vulnerable. So definitely uncomfortable would be in there as a list of the ways I would describe how I'm feeling right now. But I kind of felt like it was a necessary thing to start doing this because it's going to help me to improve. It's going to help me to kind of track my journey, see where I've been so that I can be really excited about where I'm going. So 2 months ago, I started this journey, and I mentioned that to you earlier, with my husband, and we basically decided to change our lifestyle. So just to give you an idea, at the beginning of this journey, I had not stepped on the scale. Now, you might think that's a little odd, okay? Because that would be something that I think most people would think is important to do when you're stepping into a new journey, right? Especially with a health-related journey. You want to know where you start at so you can see where you've come. And unfortunately, I didn't do that. So I really don't know what I weighed when I started this journey. I wanted to focus on health and wellness. And I told myself that that's what I was doing, that by not stepping on the scale, I was focusing on health and wellness and not the number on the scale. After all, the number on the scale doesn't define me, right? It doesn't change who I am. So what I did instead was I didn't weigh for an entire month. And then I started to realize, well, how can I really be accountable or know that I'm going down or know that what I'm doing is working for me if I don't have some kind of accountability system? So then I invited my husband to be that accountability person for me. And what I would do, we would do a weekly weigh-in and I would step on the scale. And he would look at the number and he would keep track and let me know if I'm going up or if I'm going down, but he wouldn't tell me the number on the scale. And this is how I avoided, focusing on that number, if you will, and getting obsessive about that number. And that's what I told myself what I was doing. A friend and I were talking yesterday. She's also decided to join this journey with me. And she was talking about, her beginning processes, and I recommended that she jump on the scale because I encouraged her because I know that I really regret not doing that now. And so I didn't want her to have the same experience that I did. So I really encouraged her to step on the scale, and she was doing the same thing that I was doing and just was like, well, I don't really need to know that number. Without getting too much into that, it turns out she had the courage, and on day one, she did it. She stepped on that scale. She faced that number. She knows where she started. It was really, really hard. And then she started and she vlogged about it. And I got to watch that this morning and hear me, the friend on the other end, going, hey, girl, you might be in a little bit of denial over there. You might want to step on that scale. And only to realize that the person who was in the biggest denial was myself. But the biggest person that was in denial was myself. And after watching her video, I realized that it was time for me also to step on the scale and to face that number head on and to look at that and to let it sink in and then to never go back there again. So I did it. I did it, ladies and gents, whoever's watching. I stepped on that scale and I sobbed for the first couple hours. And when I actually did step on the scale and I realized how much I'd let myself go, it was really mortifying. I guess that's the best word I can use to describe how I felt. I was mortified. I felt ashamed. I wondered how I got myself to be at that number, especially since I'd already been on this lifestyle journey and dropping at least 2 pounds consistently every week since day one. And if my number was that high, I'm mortified to think of what it could have been or what it actually was. And I will never know because I wasn't accountable. And I didn't step on the scale and I didn't face that number head on day one, something I really regret, but I did now. And after I had time to let that sink in for me for a second, I realized that it's okay. It's okay that I feel bad. And it's okay that I feel a little bit of pain, because that pain is only going to motivate me to never want to be at that weight again. I am at the heaviest I've ever been. I have 5 children, and I weigh more than I weighed when I gave birth to them. My boys especially were the ones where I was heaviest with, one of which was a 10-pound baby. And I weigh more than I weighed then. And I knew that I was having issues. I knew that I was having problems, but I was in real big denial about how serious it was. And when I looked at that number today, I couldn't justify anymore, right? I couldn't blame it on hormones. I couldn't blame it on water weight. I couldn't blame it on being big boned or whatever else I would tell myself. I realized that I got myself there. And it was over years and years of just treating myself badly, really. And that was a hard realization for me. And my husband was there to be sweet and comforting and loving through the process, but it's always tough to realize that you have to basically lose an entire human being to be at a healthy and ideal weight. And I have a daughter who's going to be graduating next year. And I've been avoiding pictures all of her life because I didn't want to face this. I didn't want to look at it head on, and I didn't want to see what I was really doing to myself. And that stops today. That stops now. I am really proud of myself for the choices that I've been making and the weight loss that I've been having. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to hold on to that. But I'm also going to take this feeling that I have right now after weighing myself today. And I am going to never go back here. I never ever again want to be back here. And the reality is, I got myself here and I can get myself out. And now because I stepped on the scale and I looked at that number, I also now, as I've had time to process a little bit, I have realized that I had just empowered myself to take control of my life again, something that I have long since lost. And I'll be able to go to my daughter's graduation and feel proud of me. And I'll be able to be in those pictures and give her those memories. And make her proud. And the rest of my family, the rest of my children and my husband proud. But most importantly, I'm going to be proud. And I'm going to use this day, this very moment, this very hard truth, and I'm going to own it. And next week, I am not going to see that number ever again. And the following week after that, that's just going to keep happening because I will do whatever it takes. I will eat better. I will treat my body better because the reality is no matter what the number on the scale says, okay, no matter what, that number doesn't define me. I'm still me. And I still have the qualities and traits that I've always had. Only I'm a more empowered me now. And I can take this hard thing and I can make it a good and a beautiful thing. And I, no matter what, will always be a daughter of God. And I can take that with me no matter what. I am ready. And I am able, and I'm going to do this thing. So let's do this thing. Thanks for tuning in.